So this verse speaks about material creation. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, nobody knows me. Nobody knows my origin, because of everything I am the cause. The devas, the sages. So nobody can truly describe me. And it is something that is really interesting. Because we know a person by his feelings. The creation, it is the effect. Krishna is the cause, and there's the effect. But by observing creation, we can realize that there's a creator, a maintainer, and a destroyer. We can have a relationship with the one who maintains and destroys everything. We understand that he is everywhere, but it doesn't mean that we can understand his feeling and our own feeling true towards this truth, because it is far, very far away. Since the Lord, when he assumes the form of the Purusha avatars, Karanodakshay Vishnu, Kalpodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu, in fact, it is an aspect which is distant from the Lord. Because in these forms, his aspect is connected to creation. And we see, when the devas, the demigods, they go to pray to the Lord on the shore of Svetatdvip, when there are problems in the universe, it is very far away. The proof is that only Brahma hears the voice of the Lord. And he says to the devas that he will come to enjoy. In this way, there's a form of mercy, because since the devas are partial manifestations of his eternal associates, the most important devas, like the Vasus, for example, or Indra, then he gives the order to the devas to come incarnate on the earth, to accompany him in his pastimes. So at the same time, there is something that is far away, when they are only in their partial forms. And when the associates of the Lord appear, then these devas, these demigods, they merge in these associates. For example, when the Yadavas, they exterminated each other in Pravat, it is explained that the eternal associates, they dissociated themselves from the forms, and it's the demigod that killed each other, and after they went back into their planets. So the pastimes of Krishna are quite difficult to understand for people who are influenced even by goodness. It's difficult to understand, because everything is resting upon feelings. And the feelings of the Lord, we can understand them only when we are close to His heart. There's no other solutions. And in which way we're close to His heart? It is through attitude. When we love Krishna and we desire to be with Him and we die because we cannot make it, then Krishna becomes attracted. He becomes attracted. But why does he become attracted? Because in fact, devotion in its integrality is manifested in the form of Shri Radha. And Krishna is attracted only by Radharani, nothing else. And when a devotee dies of not being able to be with Krishna, it means that he is close to Radharani. He obtains the mercy of Guru. By the grace of a spiritual master, we can obtain love for him. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that it is impossible otherwise. All the acharyas explain this. All the scriptures explain this. If we don't have the mercy of a sadhu, a perfect soul, then this love cannot come in our heart. So, Krishna, he says the same thing to Arjuna in chapter 4. He says the same thing. He says, if you want to understand, realize, you must approach a qualified Vaishnava, the one who knows me. He doesn't say the one who read the scriptures. He doesn't say the one who heard about me, but the one who knows me. So there's a true relationship. The spiritual master, it is the one who saw Krishna, who spoke with Krishna, that Krishna loves, and Krishna cannot live without him. So, when these feelings are not there, of not being able to live with Krishna, there's no Krishna. There's something else instead. A cat, a dog, a child, a husband, whatever you want. But there's no Krishna. Because we obtain true love. And Krishna cannot be obtained by a love that is shared. It is not his nature. He wants everything. This is the nature of the Lord. If you want to obtain Krishna, then there can be only love for Krishna and his devotees. Because Krishna means his devotees. Krishna means Radharani. When we speak about Krishna, we speak about a world with Krishna. It's not simply Krishna. When Srila Prabhupada spoke about Krishna, often the more Krishna comes back. But in fact, we must understand that the word Krishna, when Vaishnava speaks, it's the world of Krishna. And naturally, it is a kind of hidden mercy. For example, certain persons, they say that in the Prabhupada's books, there's not everything. I was reading of words from Gogovida Maharaj, who was saying the three things that we should realize is that to prove that in Prabhupada's books, everything is included. That's what he was trying to prove. Everything is included. And in fact, we see just when the Vaishnava, because the Vaishnava is the associate of the Lord. It is the one who has a transcendental form. It is the one who can. He can see, he can understand. He can know everything about Krishna. Everything. Because in the transcendental world, Krishna is really sweet. He forgets that he is the supreme controller, the one that creates the universes. He saw that the elements were. So, he makes the Prakriti activated so that the universe can manifest itself. All the planets, etc. But this, it is far away from truth. And at the same time, it is also close. Otherwise, the pure devotees, they would not have spoken the Bhagavatam with the whole creation. Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the form of Krishna. So, for the pure devotee, there are no differences in between creation and sweet feelings of Krishna. But why do we study, and why is it important to understand this aspect of greatness of the Lord? It is to allow us, after, to understand His intimacy. If we cannot understand the greatness of the Lord, when we will approach His sweetness, we will think He is an ordinary being, that He has broken heart like an ordinary being, that He cries like an ordinary being, that He pouts like an ordinary being. And we say that it is the same thing. In reality, since the living entity is made in the image of God, everything that is there in the Lord finds itself present in His creation. But because His creation is manifested through the passion, Brahma, it is considered to be a perverted reflection. It is not considered like a truth. She is considered like a perverted reflection. The truth, when it is perverted, we cannot say that it is the truth. We obtain something that is different. This is why, although this feeling exists in the heart of the Lord, when they appear in the material world, they become something that is not beautiful and which doesn't bring happiness and which cannot liberate the living entity. But when we study the sweet feelings of the Lord, then we become liberated from all material conception. Krishna explains, the one who understands my appearance and my activities, he is liberated. It's not complicated. If you study about Krishna, then you become liberated. So this is why all topics must be accepted. Everything that is connected to Krishna is wonderful. Krishna in the Gita, he says, Sarvam Sarvabhuteshu. He says, I am neither partial nor impartial. Why? Because the living entities, they do whatever right now. They forgot who they are. They think, I am a mother, a father, a child. They forgot the reality. When they will leave their body, they will have forgotten the situation to take another one that is temporary. But since they are illusioned by Maya, they think it is the reality. And they believe. And they pass this temporary illusory duty way beyond the reality. So why should I involve myself in their illusory life? So Krishna, what does he do? He is there in the heart, he observes, he is waiting. Time is an illusion. It's been billions of years that he is waiting. They have not decided themselves yet. No. They are persuaded that they are in the truth. Their attachment makes them believe in an illusory way that it is true. If I do this, he will suffer. If I do this, I cannot. This is the karma. When we are not surrendered to the Lord, then we are in a jail and we suffer. If we speak with them, it's just suffering. It's such a great suffering that you're there and wow, how can they tolerate this? The one who is surrendered to the Lord, they cannot even understand this. How are they doing? It's so complicated, their life. But they don't want to surrender. They're persuaded, convinced. The Acharya says they are convinced. Life after life, they do the same thing. Prahlad Maharaj says it's like vomiting and eating the same thing again because they're always doing the same thing in this material, always. Getting married, having children, struggle for life and die and start over again. Life after life. And not one life, not two lives. Bahunam Janmanamati, so many lifetimes. Why? So Krishna is waiting, like a friend, but he will never force you. So, how the fact of being saved happens? Krishna is there. Krishna is clever. Yada yada yada. He is very clever. When he comes, he lets his name stay here. Knowledge about his form and his qualities and his pastimes, and it spreads. And people, when they enter in contact with the glories of the Lord, then even without knowing it, they accumulate acts of devotion. And at some point, faith manifests itself. It is a process. And when faith manifests itself in the life before, they could not surrender. Impossible. They're in a suffering, it is impossible. Why? The attachments, but if I do this, it's terrible, I cannot do this. But in another life, they have the strength. And they cut. And they surrender. And it's going, moving forward. This is why we need sometimes many lifetimes. Because in one life it will not be possible. The situation that we created, because we are the one who created it, it's not Krishna, we are free. The building next door, it's not Krishna who creates it. The red lights, the green lights, the laws of the country, it's not Krishna who creates it. Krishna gives all the elements so that we can create our own world. But our world is a psychological prison. Because we don't have the possibility to free ourselves. Except if we surrender to the Lord. So, Krishna sends his devotees because once someone has faith, the pure devotee must be there. This is why Prabhupada is there. Prabhupada comes to create the Sukriti in living entities, but also to allow for their faith to become strong so that they can surrender. And for this, we need faith. We need to study. When we enter in contact with the books of the Acharyas, we understand the truth. This is why there's some who put it into practice, and why some cannot put it into practice. And here there's the same problem. Look Arjuna on the battlefield. When Krishna told him, when he told him, you cannot see who is in front of you? Yes, even bring my cart in front of the two armies. What happened? His objects have attachments. It's finished after. I could not do anything after that. Finished. As long as we are attached, we cannot do anything. So what did he do, Krishna? Become my guru. I am lost. I am completely lost, Krishna. I need your help. And Krishna said, oh, you speak good. And Arjuna started to... He was arguing. He wanted to leave the battlefield and live in the front and said, oh, you speak well. You're like a fool. Not like a sage, like a fool. He taught him, you're the soul, you're not the body. So if you act like this, you don't kill. I take all the results of your activities if you surrender to me. And at some point, Krishna, by the grace of the Guru, Shri Guru, the universal Guru Krishna, he was liberated from his chains. And there he was able to act. Otherwise it's not possible. So unless we have faith in the Guru, and approach him with sincerity, we don't progress in this life. There's no progress. There's always a progress. It's a way of speaking. But when we say there's no progress, there's not the attainment of the goal. We progress, but very little. And we must take birth again to start again. Let us take the example of Bharat Maharaj. It's really interesting. Bharat Maharaj, he was an extraordinary king, an emperor, and he was a pure devotee. Even the activities connected to fruitive activity, karma kanda, it was for him devotion to the Supreme Lord. So he left everything at some point to absorb himself. But when a doe was drinking in the Gandaki river, so he was in the Himalayas. At some point there's a lion. I don't know what he was doing there in the Himalayas. A special lion. And the doe was afraid, and she was pregnant, and she was ready to deliver the baby. So the baby fell in the water. And then Bharat Maharaj, who was at a high level of devotion, bhav, he was able to see directly the Lord in his heart and be filled with ecstatic symptoms of pure love of God. So he was taken with compassion. He recuperated the animal. But why? But Why did Bharat Maharaj fall down from his spiritual practice by being attached to the baby deer? It's because at that time, he did not consult with a Vaishnava. He acted independently from the authority. This is the reason why this pastime, one of the reasons why it is manifested, because it is the desire of the Lord that it manifested in this way. Because in the stage of devotion, it's not possible that we fall down, since at this level we are liberated from the three gunas. It is because the Lord wanted to teach that at all levels we must act blessings from a Vaishnava. Otherwise we attach ourselves and we fall from the spiritual path. When we ask the authorization of a Vaishnava, then the connection with the object becomes bhakti. But when we don't ask on our own, when we're not pure, it cannot be bhakti. It becomes a desire. An independent desire, a material desire. And so the connection with the object, it makes the desire increase and we attain devotion. It's really scientific. So when you do something independently, know there's truly a danger. It's really subtle. But in fact, we fall down gradually because it is not a spiritual activity. The activity is considered transcendental, spiritual, when it is given by the Guru. Well, of course, the disciple, when he is not liberated and he does the service, we cannot say directly that the activity of the disciple is completely pure. But because he receives the instruction from Guru in proper time, then he becomes pure. We explained this so many times, that the instruction of the Guru is an expansion of his service in the transcendental world. So of course it means that the Guru must be qualified. And there we speak about a self-realized Guru at this moment. And then this instruction brings the disciple to spiritual realization and to be introduced in the eternal service of the Guru. So, this pastime proves that when we act independently, at some point it is the spiritual fall down. That's why we should always be protected by a Vaishnava. No qualified Vaishnava is never under the shelter of a Vaishnava. Always he is. It's a principle. A Vaishnava never thinks he is qualified. This is why he always accepts a guardian. It is a principle. All the Vaishnavas act like this. Because there's a real danger. So, we won't speak more. But, yes, we must truly approach the Lord in the first phase through His creation, and by His mercy we must pray that we can be introduced gradually in these sweet feelings. And this is possible only by the grace of His devotee who came in the material universe, Srila Prabhupada. Because we must absolutely receive the grace of such a person who is an intimate devotee of the Lord, to be able to understand all these subtleties and to be able to access our eternal reality. Jai.